Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth and final round of the RTG Team Kraut Paint Shops series here at RTR Superspeedway. Hello, everybody. I'm Anthony McCurry. Alongside me, joining me alongside me is Jessica Shelton. The fourth and final round of this mini series, the championship round, and we are in a close points battle today. Jessica, how are you doing today?
Oh, after last night, I'm doing fine. I watched these guys go head over heels last night, battling back and forth. Came down to an exciting crunch of the winner being Grant Wesley. Dante in the 84 truck almost got him, and that gave him a great deal of points. Robert Balcom finished third last night. So those are the main three players for tonight. You have Grant Wesley and Robert Balcom. They're both tied for this mini series for race championship series, I guess you could call it. It's basically been a really great series that they've had all week. Um, Dante, however, he's got a little bit of a mountain to climb, 7 points back. This track is basically like Talladega, except that all the everywhere that was banked is no longer banked. Period. And they're going to be having pit road at 70 miles an hour. Pit window, we're looking at between 18 to 19 for fuel. So they're going to have to manage their P's and Q's. I was on the track earlier. I slid up a little bit off these corners. So I know that there's a little bit of tire wear. So they're going to have to be really careful with the speeds going around the same amount like they would in the plate races.
Indeed, that is the case. It is a very flat track. The fact that we are racing as a super speedway is going to be interesting to see how they can get through these turns in a group. It kind of has the same grade as maybe like an old school Homestead where there was barely any banking in the turns. It's going to be really fun to see these drivers get around, and we have a very close points battle to watch over. This should be really fun. On the pole for tonight's race is going to be the 10 of Terry Bombard. He put in a really fast lap. It's going to be him on the pole, followed by the number 13 of Dave Melson. Back here in third, you see one of our championship contenders is Grant Wesley. As Jessica mentioned, he finished first place last time we were racing. Alongside of him will be the 088 of Tim Nofsker. Pace truck peels off. Jessica, who do you favor to win tonight's race, and who do you favor to take home this championship?
I favor Dante to win the race. It's between Dante and Grant, and for the championship, I'm actually leaning toward Grant, and I'm picking Grant so I can jinx him.
Well, we're about to find out who's going to do it tonight at RTR Super Speedway. The green flag is out. We're underway. Terry Bombard gets a nice run away from everybody. He's got the 88 of Wesley coming with him. On the outside, though, you see that no one's really gone away from the field as they pull out of the inside. Bombard and Wesley get a little jump on the field as they're going to pull away from the rest of the pack coming out of turn two.
Yep, down the backstretch here. They're running side by side. They're trying to fan out here. I'm looking on Mitch Bombard. Mitch Bombard taking it nice and easy back here. Speaking of the Bombards, Terry and Mitch, they're the ones responsible for putting on this series for a little fun tidbit outside of the regular season that we're having before the All-Star break next week. And it's really thankful that they're letting us do this, and we do appreciate the opportunity to call these little mini-series events. So thank you very much to that.
Indeed, it is a really cool event that they're putting on, and it's a cool little mini series to keep everybody entertained throughout the off seasons. And right now we have Dave Melson on the back of the 10, going into I think a caution. Nope, never mind. I was just seeing
Nope.
things. Just seeing things. Never
I'm
mind.
just letting you know, Anthony, the walls are all yellow. Don't
Oh
worry
boy.
about that. Oh, we got one
Oh,
way up really high off of turn 2 up here. There was a truck way up there.
gee, there was. I'm gonna go back and look at that. I think it was the 7 of Eric, Mangya or Manjan and
No. It was Chris Elliott in the 9.
Chris Elliott in the
He's
9.
behind
Okay.
the 17 Chuck McClure. As we see that the top group, there's a battle for the lead. Dave Nelson's up on the high side trying to get a run on the leader. It doesn't look like that's going to pay off right now as they go back single file for the first several positions up back to 8. And then there's a little bit of a gap behind Chris Elliott, but I don't expect there to be a big gap. I'm sure that everything's going to close up because this is, like we said, Super Speedway. Draft is key. And it looks like they're going to start battling for the lead and positions now on the bottom of, you got Grant and Robert on the bottom along with Dante making moves here.
Indeed, so the 018 of Robert Balcom looks like he's going for the lead over the 10. They're in the championship battle between him, Wesley, and Richie. So this could be really valuable if he gets up to the lead. He can get a bonus point, secure that for his goal for the championship. Remember, it's basically down to whoever finishes in front of the first. We didn't. I think you
Now they're
mentioned
taking it
this.
3 wide. And there's a
Whoa!
wreck right there. He goes around.
The 10 car goes around, and it looks like that we're going to have our first caution here tonight. Terry Bombard, the pole sitter, gets spun going into turn 3. And allowed down to the line, it's going to be Balcom with the lead, Nofsker in second, and now Wesley in third. It looks like they're going to go down to the line as they are, but back here, looks like that maybe Nelson's going to have a go at the 27, but does not. We are under yellow for
And
the first time tonight.
what I was trying to mention was you're talking about them making a move to the inside, and I was saying that Grant and Robert they were going to the front, and Dante's back here running in 8th. At that time he was 9th, so I was about to say that Dante was watching how it all plays out. There's plenty of laps for him to relax, try to get in the pattern, but there's a point for leading a lap, another point for leading the most laps. So if he wants to win this championship and be the long shot favorite to win this, he needs to get up there and start leading some laps. And about that wreck, they were 3 wide in that corner coming off the turn. So when I saw that, I mean, I didn't know if there was going to be contact, but it looked like there was. It might have been net code, though, Anthony.
It did look like that there wasn't any physical contact between the two of them. We've seen some of these wrecks happen because of netcode, and that very well could be what happened. We're going to see if these guys go down to pit road at this stage in the race. They're only on lap 4 of 76. This track is kind of driving like a speedway. We're not seeing super speedway speeds, and it is a super speedway in the sense that it's restrictor plate racing, and the draft does matter. It seems like that we're seeing a style of racing that's more akin to maybe a half mile or a mile and a half speedway that's relatively flat. And it looks like the 9's going to stay out. Interesting strategy.
Yeah, the 9 stayed out last night when we raced at the speedway that they ran last night. It was basically like a Vegas Kansas flat mix together. It was a revamped type of or re-edited work of Las Vegas that was done by the Bombards, and it was very interesting last night. Chris Elliott stayed out last night to gain a lot of track position, a lot of time, but fell short at the end. So maybe this is a strategy for him. He might come in the next time if because the cautions, he'll come in next time hopefully to top off and get a little bit of an extra lap on fuel if needed. But so what are you thinking? We're already 4 laps into this, 3 wide already, and then we get a first incident. I mean, what are you thinking right now, Anthony?
Well, I'm thinking these guys are being kind of aggressive for the time it's being. This track isn't very wide. It's another thing that I've noticed is that this track has got maybe the width of of Texas minus turns 1 and 2. Uh, so there's not a whole lot of room on the racetrack to move around, especially the turns with how flat they are. This has a pretty much the same grade all the way around the track. I want to point out that Andre Mangion did not take tires on that pit stop. He comes out way in front of the ones he did. Richard Martin, I also believe, didn't take tires. He's up here. And as well as the one that was involved in the incident, he stayed out. I don't know if he's staying out indefinitely, if he's going to come down, if you would just want to be up in the front for a little bit. Terry has stayed on the track. We're going to go to
I do know, one of the strategy things that I've learned that I picked up over in the Super Speedway series that they do on Thursday nights here is when it's early on, like lap 5 or lap 10 or so, they'll come down and they'll take fuel only. That way it gives them less time because tires aren't wearing that bad. But from what I have understood, and you saw how it pushed up a little bit, I mean, there's a little bit more tire wear, it's a little bit more excessive. And as we got a couple more coming into pit road now.
We're looking at the incident right now, and we've got it in super slow-mo. Terry Bombard was on the outside of a 3-wide situation between him, Wesley, and Nofsker. And I'm trying to see what happens. It doesn't look like anyone particularly went up into him. Yeah, we're in super slow-mo to see what happened. I think it was netcode. I don't see any contact that happened between him and the 88. Looks like whatever it was, got tagged in the left rear quarter panel, sends him up into the wall. It was a solo car incident. No one else was involved, thankfully. But I do believe that there was some netcode there, and that's what caused the incident. And he just takes a hard shot into the wall. The trucks are running moderate damage tonight. That might not be the end of his race. There's going to be a lot of damage, so it was a pretty hard hit into the wall. He might be able to get back into this race later on. It is very early on in the race, only on 4 of 76.
And Chris Elliott and Bombard and the other Bombard, both Bombards came into pit that time by. Yeah, I'm going through some of these drivers right now, and I'm not going to specifically call anyone out because I know certain drivers do listen to the broadcast, so I'm not going to spoil who's who here. But there is clutching going on here.
Oh boy!
Well, they're trying to save a little bit under pacing here. They're looking like they're trying to get lined up, but the caution lights are still on, so they're going to go around another time.
I believe you mentioned that the field window is anywhere between 18 to 19 laps.
Dante said 18 to 19 laps.
18 to 19 laps. So,
Yeah.
doing the math, that wouldn't make it all the way to the end if this went green. I don't think
No,
it will.
absolutely not. They're going to pit at least 3 times.
Yeah. Oh yeah, obviously, but I don't. That last pit stop. I don't know if they're going to be able to stretch it all the way with what they would do on that last pit stop. We got a truck. Looks like they're going to go down pit road. That is the 7-Eleven of John Godfrey, and another truck behind him is going to go down. He's giving up the 5th position. That is Grant Wesley in the 88 coming back down pit road. One of the championship contenders. He and Robert Balcom are in a tied position for the points lead. So it really does come down to whoever finishes in front of the other with them. I believe you said it was 7 points back that Dante Ritchie was?
Yeah, Dante is 7 back, so he's got a long shot to win. And with the way these points are, I believe it's about like 40, 45, 43, 47, something like that for winning the race. I'm not sure exact how many points, and plus the extra point for leading a lap, leading the most laps, and winning the race itself gives you 3. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Dante tries to push it to get up here to lead so we can gain some extra bonus points over, because we saw that Robert was up in the front getting that extra bonus point. So he's got to really figure out how he's going to counter that. He's not only got to get up here to lead, but he's got to try to dominate this race. Dante said to me that he had won this race last time they were here in a different series. So if any indication is that, Dante got this place figured out. But I know pretty well that Grant is a super speedway guy. You broadcasted a couple of the RTG races already, Anthony, so you know Grant's always up near the front end of super speedway. But see, this is more of a technical, going in these corners and all, and the technicality of playing with the throttle, backing off, conserving tires, etc., and all that. That's more of a Robert Balcom side. That's one of his strengths. So It's all pretty much evened out all the way through here with their ability at this track. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do here. His lights are off as they come off before.
Andre Majan is the leader of the race as we are about ready to go back to green. Alongside of him is going to be Richard Martin in the 43. That is your second row. Jim Glaude in the 72 will be in the second row, followed by Tim Nosker in the 088. Those are the top four. So we're getting ready to go back to green here at RTR Super Speedway. And Jessica, you did mention how technical this track is. It and I mentioned before it drives like a super speedway in the sense that the drag. Oh wow! I just looked up and Mahjong got a heck of a run out of on the restart. But to the point is, it relies on the draft. You have to stay within the pack of trucks to be able to make up positions, and it drives that as a super speedway in that sense. But to your point, it is very technical, as given how flat it is. It almost in the turns drives like a flatter track, something like maybe a Phoenix or
I
a
think I'm looking at with the speeds that they go and how much they're having to let off in these corners. Oh my, they're almost three wide back here. They're basically fanning out side by side, and they got to be really careful. But with them backing off a little bit, I mean, they're able to pretty much, like right now, I'm watching Grant Wesley in draft. He's going at 180. He's at 85, and the speed's still rising. When last time going in the corner, he was around 160 something miles an hour. He went up to 191 that time. And before he got to the other corner there, he's down to 164 at this point. So I mean, with that speed having to back off, it reminds me of Indianapolis, really.
Indeed, it does. It's got a very it's got this similar grade to Indianapolis. I guess that's what I was trying to compare it to, and I just couldn't figure out
You just
what
can't
track
compare
it
it to
was.
Indy based on how the corners and how the loops
No,
with
no,
that wall.
obviously not. Uh, it's very similar in the sense that it's a very big track that they have to slow down the corners for. Uh, as we see at the lead is going to be Jim Glaude going down to take the lead of the race. He was the leader of the last lap.
Grant
Richard
Wesley's
Martin.
back here in 12th, so he's starting to make moves to catch. He's already passed two trucks so far, so he's on his march up to the front now. And it looks
Indeed,
like
he is.
they're really fighting hard side by side as Richard Martin takes a peek to the inside of Jim Glaude. Martin will try to get the lead off of turn two.
And indeed, he does. He's actually they've leveled out in the back straight. They both have help. The inside line seems to be favored here tonight. It doesn't seem like the outside line in the turns has any particular speed, so there is a preferred line around this track. We do see normally at the tracks that they race that they can go out around the track and seem to have a line wherever they go. Tonight is very much a dominant line. Do you think that's going to come into play at the on the last lap? Where do you put your truck if you want to win the race? You're gonna, in my opinion, you're gonna have to defend the inside line like there's no tomorrow.
If it were me, I'd rather be the second one on that inside line. I could care less if I'm third or whatever, but I'd rather be on that inside line because I'm expecting the two leaders to battle and duke it out, and they might get caught up in something, and then all of a sudden the hole will open right up. Third place on that inside line, you'll be free to give that pass and win the race, but only if you time it right and make sure you do the right thing to get there in that position. McClure seems to be pushing Balcom. Looks like Andre Marjan moved down a little bit, so there's no run by Balcom there. So looks like, yeah, it looks like Balcom's going to pass Novsker here, and Novsker's going to keep dropping back. We saw that last night at the Speedway race that Novsker got in the front, started doing really good, and then he started faded back. So it looks like Novsker is trying to redeem himself, but going back right now is not the way to do it. But I'm sure he'll get back up here. After all, it's Super Speedway as he ducks back down to the inside.
Marjan.
McClure, looks like McClure wants to go to the high side with Balcom, but he's unsure.
Marjan got a piece of the apron and he got really loose coming out of the tri-oval. And he's going to go up to second though, and he's bringing Balcom with him. Balcom is going to go to the inside of Marjan. Balcom's on a full head of steam. He wants the lead. He wants to lead a lap, and if he can get to the lead and stay there, then that's going to be ideal for him because he is again in that tied position with him and Wesley for the championship.
Oh, they're backing up a little bit. They had to really back off. Nostra got up to the McClure. He had to back off. Dante had to back off. Nelson gave a little bit of room there. You got Dante running back here, and right behind Dante is Grant. So they're pretty much forming themselves out in a specific position right now. Dante goes back to the inside. It looks like there's a cat and mouse game of inside outside with Jim Glad up near the front. Dante is now to the inside of Chris Elliott making moves to try to go forward. That'll be for the 7th position, I believe. And Grant is sitting there in 10th place, so they're all being patient, minding P's and Q's, but really hard racing going on side by side here as Robert Balcom gets back to the front.
Indeed, it is. Balcom goes to the lead of the race. I'm going the wrong way with the camera. Balcom to the lead. Right behind him is going to be Chuck McClure in the 17, pushing him basically down the back stretch and now going through turns 3 and 4. We're on lap 13 of 76. It looks like some of these drivers are starting to settle in, although the intensity hasn't gone down any. We're still racing side by side, and it looks like that Jim Gloud got a little bit of contact with Richard Martin. They're still right side by side with each other.
Yeah, it seems like when you get put up on that eyesight, your only friend is, okay, we got to find an opening to get down there. As we see, he finally gets an opening there, but almost slides up, and they almost got into each other right at the entry of that turn 2, it looked like. I wasn't sure if he was going to make it or not, because it's like a really tight, small window. You have to get down there, but you don't want to get down there and cause that guy to check up or make evasive moves to cause another wreck. I mean, these guys here are really good. They know what they're doing. I mean, it was a great race last night. We only had one caution. It was for a debris caution, I believe, and it was a really great race. Almost everyone stayed out to finish that race last night. It had a couple retirees due to engine failure, etc. So, and one one little incident by Terry that was, he thought it was funny when he slammed the pit wall last night, but you get what I mean. It just, they ran really hard last night, gave each other room, and it seems like they're trying to do that same thing here. These guys have been racing for so long. This league is all about respect. You respect them, they'll respect you. They give it, so they expect it back. It's just a really great environment, I believe, Anthony, to be around these people, racing these people like I have. I mean, I enjoy running over here. Just complete respect all around is what they give you, and they're well deserved.
Indeed, it is. They are a very professional league, and it's nice to see a league that you can have fun in and still race as if you were actually on track. And this is kind of what RTG is, and it's a really refreshing thing to see. And so far, we have a really good race going. They were single file.
Yeah, Grant's right underneath Robert now, and Dante's right behind Robert, and McClure's got the lead with Novsker behind him.
Indeed, it looks like that McClure and Novsker are kind of pulling away from the field. It looks like that Martin is trying to go back with him. I don't think that those two up front are going to get away for very long. It doesn't seem like, as you said, the draft is very important. Balcom and Wesley are battling side by side. Remember, this is for the championship. And right now, if we were to end the race, it would be very close. But I think Wesley would eke out.
I don't know. Robert has led a lap. So they would probably tie back each other.
They're tied again. So what is the protocol if there's another tie? Do we go to a tiebreaker?
Probably to figure out either who finished higher in this race or probably the overall top finishing result for the percentage, or basically, and even where'd you finish in this race, where'd you finish in that race, etc. I'm not really sure, but I don't. There wasn't any talk about that earlier from what I could gather, so I don't think they're expecting a tiebreak to happen.
That is true. The tiebreakers are few and far between, and you don't see them in many series. It's always fun to think about the what ifs, like what if there was a tie. I personally never seen that happen, but I think it'd be really cool if it came down to that. Wesley's going underneath Novsker, and he's going to take the third place position. Right behind is Dave Melson. He's been up the front pretty much all race long. He hasn't really gone away, and now he's coming up. He's going to take the fourth position away from Novsker.
Yeah, I expect Richard to go for the lead when he gets up here. It looks like he's going to go for the lead right now over Chuck McClure, and Grant's right there, so if Grant gets a moment, he's going to duck out and he's going to definitely go for the lead over Richard Martin. I don't expect Grant to patiently be riding. I expect him to try to get out front and lead this and get some points.
Yeah, he wants that bonus point. That bonus point could make or break this entire championship. It means that if you tie, if you're on the racetrack next to each other, it all depends on where you're running at. It depends on if you're in the lead or not. So he's definitely want to get
Oh
in past the
boy.
43.
Really, really, really wiggly here for Andre Marjan as he got right on the back of Robert Balcom. Balcom had to back off and he
Whoa!
almost lost it.
Him and Novsker got really close together, 2 out of 4. This track is very loose. It seems like they can get a run in, and then all of a sudden they snap loose, and it looks like the 88 is going to go for the lead. I don't know if he got it. He did. So Chaco lap led up to the 88. So now him and wow, I just blanked on his name. Robert Balcom. Him and Robert Balcom are now tied for the or if they came down to it, they are now on level playing grounds.
Yes, they are, and I don't know if you noticed, but if you watch that high side when they go into these corners, they're able to get a huge run, and then oh gosh, don't put them 3 wide, don't put them 3 wide. I thought they were going to put Robert 3 wide in a moment ago, but it seemed like going into one that the high side was able to get a huge run, and then they almost lost a little bit off the corner going to the straightaway, and then that inside line just prevailed in turn 3 and 4. I don't know. Oh, there's excessive movement up there. Looks like Anthony. I can't tell who that is. Is that Chuck McClure going back for second?
That is McClure going for second in the 17. He's underneath the 13.
Dante's coming out from on the high side of Andre Marjan. Andre backed off a little bit of Robert when Chuck made that move, and Dante swung to the high side.
It looks like McClure is also bringing Balcom with him. So these two championship contenders are going to be right up with each other pretty soon. I also wanted to point out back here, we haven't mentioned him, or we've mentioned him, but he's just been kind of running in the background, and that's Dante Ritchie. He is mathematically eligible for this championship, albeit he is 7 points behind the top 2. If something happens to Wesley and Balcom, then he's right there into the championship hunt. So we can't count out the 84 yet. He's right now coming up in the 5th position on the outside line. That's not where you want to be, as it looks like that the 27 Marjan cut down in front of Novsker. That could have been really bad if they had carried that momentum into turn 1.
I want to point out that we had that incident earlier with Terry Bombard. Terry's still with the pack. He's running back here in 14th, but he's still with the pack, still up to speed. So it doesn't look like that was a bad impact at all for him. It looks like he's able to keep up the speed and just ride around back here, just watch these guys race and try to gain positions where they come.
I would imagine though that he's got quite a bit of aero damage that might be hindering his top speed a little bit. He is running. He might just be running in the back. I don't think he'd be too eager to get back to the front after all. If there's any lag, that the reason why he got spun in the first place was because of netcode. I don't think he might be concerned that it will happen again. I don't think we'll see him coming up to the front
Anthony,
before
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to let you know I just got told over whisper by a specific driver that projected is going on 4 laps of fuel. So we will see them come down very soon.
4 laps. Now that takes them to lap 26. They could pit as early as 2025.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if this driver that whispered me, I don't know if he pitted on that last run like we saw Chris Elliott did, because Chris Elliott could go an extra lap now.
Well, that's true.
Highly unwarranted, in my opinion. I'd rather come down when I have draft partners, but that's just me.
Right there, one of the trucks got a little squirrel. They couldn't quite tell who that was. It was 72. Got a little loose out of the tri-oval. So if they pit on lap 25, if the majority of them do pit on lap 25, that means that they could theoretically go to lap 75 if everything stayed green. Although,
wait. If
we're running 20 laps.
If they pit, did you just hear yourself? If they pit on lap 25, they can make the 75?
Well, no, they can make it on 75 if they do 2 stops left. If they go to 2 stops. I don't know if they could.
Looks like they're coming in.
Oh, they're going to come in way earlier than 25. So if they can go about 19 laps, if somebody locks up the brakes, that was McClure, locks the brakes going into the pit lane. So if they pit on lap 23, the next stop should be somewhere lap 40, maybe 40 exactly. They might get to maybe 42 at the
Lead has
very
cycled
most.
around to Andre Marjan in the 27 now.
It has Richard Martin and Dave Nelson have stayed out with them. Back here, Jim Gloud almost hit the wall earlier. He's running in the 4th position. They're weaving down the backstretch as if they're trying to get some fuel in their trucks.
No,
Maybe
I'm curious. I'm curious if Chris Elliott's going to stay out an extra lap. And it
he
looks like
might.
Dante. Dante's. Wow, what are you doing, Dante?
I don't know. Do you risk staying out more laps? And well, he is doing it. Here's Chris Elliott. I was almost wondering if you risk staying out to gain track position, because we've seen how reliable the draft is towards these drivers. I don't know if they'd be super willing to give that up to gain some possible track position, although you will have a clean pit road.
I want to point out something. I just saw Dante come off pit road, okay? And I was trying to figure out if it was legal or not. They come off pit road on the line together, and there was a little bit of a concrete area on the high side that was still below the yellow line on the actual racing surface itself. Dante used that to his advantage and passed Grant and got a run off of turn 2 to pass Robert Balcom to be in front of him. And he's going to gain a lot of time and a lot of positions here coming around as they're coming off pit road now.
That is true. That I never thought about that as wow. Looks like the
10.
Kerry Bombard drove it way deep into the pit road. I don't know if he got it slowed down in enough time. That might be a speeding penalty. He did overtake the 9 of Chris Elliott, who was the leader coming out into pit road. We're going to follow the progress of the 9. These two are the last to pit. And I don't know if their lap times were competitive enough to be able to stay out in front of the pack when they cycle around. They might have shot themselves in the foot at this point in the race. Lap 25 of 76. Where is
the leaders
Dante
are right at
Ritchie?
the entry of pit road right now on the track. Looks like Dante is going to be holding steady in front of Grant and Robert Balcom right now. As they're at the line now, they're going to easily take the lead and pull away.
Yeah, I don't know how wise that was on Elliott's part. They are going to lose the draft at this point if they come out. Although Benoit Plord is back here. We haven't talked about him much. He's lost the draft and is running kind of in no man's land at the moment.
Yeah, so it looks like he might have slid up early on and just didn't have the ability to stay in draft because, you know, what we've seen is he slide up and the whole inside goes, and when you get back down, you're not close enough to the game. I think it's like 2.5 that you have to be with the car in front or the truck in front of you to at least get a little whiff of draft. So he might have been just right there on the edge of that, and he just lost touch. But still, he's been here holding out, waiting, and looks like he might at least have somebody to catch up to try to catch this big field up here. As Robert passes Grant now, and Robert's going to look for the lead over Dante on the high side, but thinks better of it. Goes back in, tucks behind the 84 of Dante.
He does. Balcom is right up here. You have 2 of your championship contenders running 1st and 2nd, and then in 4th in a battle for the 4th, now going on 5th, is going to be Grant Wesley in the 88. This pack has kind of separated themselves from the pack as well. Down to the bottom goes Balcom with a run, trying to get to the inside of Ritchie. He does, and will take the lead going into turn 3. What a move by the 018.
While you have Ron Louisier and Richard Martin here on the tail end of the lead pack, about several seconds back is Chuck McClure, Kerry Bombard, Jim Gloud, Chris Elliott's not right with these guys, but he's trying to catch the back end of the 7-2 of Jim Gloud. And then further back in 13th, you have Wiley Coate, John Godfrey, and Bob Dixon barely hanging on to that group. And Mitch Bombard's with nobody holding his own. Meanwhile, Poor, like you commented earlier, running by himself. He's still, unfortunately, by himself up here as he comes to the trial at the moment.
Yeah, that was a shame. We didn't really see what happened to him. I don't know if he just lost the draft, he slipped up, but we haven't seen the 87 up in the lead pack
I
for a
haven't seen
long
him up
time.
near the pack since the opening laps before pit stop started for that first
It-
caution.
There's a while before they lap him. He's now coming out onto the back straight right about now.
Robert's
And
going into the tri-oval right now.
yeah, there's still a little bit before they catch him. I don't think they'll lap him before the next pit cycle. There's a lot of racetrack between them still. But the way that they're lapping almost a full 2 seconds faster than he is. So it's going to be a little. They're going to catch him eventually. There's plenty
I
of
think
race to
I
do
think if
there.
Chris Elliott can catch Jim Gloud and they can form up this 4-car pack and go single file, if they keep racing side by side like they have been up here, as Tim Noster's holding the lead steady over Robert Balcom, as looks like Melson and Andre Marjan are going to go to the inside of Balcom to getting positions there. If that second group can gather themselves together, if they keep running side by side, that second group might catch them.
Indeed, it's true. Nofsker to your like you said, it goes the lead. Melson second, and Manjan in third rather. Uh, Ronald Luzier, we haven't seen him up at the front in a long time, and here he is in the 62 running in this lead pack.
Well, he's currently.
Whoa! The 88 goes onto the apron. He looks like he was going to get squeezed by Martin, and he saved it. Great save by the 88 of Wesley.
Speaking of Ronald Lucier, though, Ronald has been doing really good in the Winston Cup Series in Segment 2 currently right now, what they've got going on with him and Dante. So, I mean, and Bernie Mobbs. With him being on over here, doing this race here, like we said earlier, it's a fun race. It's something fun that the Bombards were willing to put on to, give back to the community, do something. And it's good to see Ronald running decently up here, just to have fun and enjoy himself. Maybe it's one of the prizes that he wants, one of the plaques that he wants, because honestly, there's a couple of them that they had out there that I actually really, really like myself, Anthony. They have a couple of Earnhardt plaques, Earnhardt and Earnhardt Jr. together, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, some really good designs on their plaques. But maybe he's wanting to try to gain a little bit of time and sit there and be hopeful for one of the random drawings.
Indeed so. You do get prizes for finishing in certain positions, and those are one of the
The
prizes.
champion gets first pick. The runner-up for the championship will get second pick, and then they do a random draw, I believe. So, but you have to have raced all 4 races to get that opportunity, and looks like Ronald might want to put himself in that position along with a few of his other competitors here. But meanwhile, back about the race, Chuck McClure currently has the fastest lap with Terry Bombard second. Um, it just looks like these lap times, they look like they're kind of falling off a little bit. Not too much as the run goes on, but they are starting to fall off now as the tires are starting to come in.
Lucier tried to go to the outside line around Manjan, did not happen. Now Bal comes to the inside looking for the second position on the back straight. And something I've noticed is that as the tires do come in, nothing really seems, or the inside line seems to get better and better. And it almost alienates the outside line. It just looks like that the 13 almost went up into Lucier as Balcom takes the lead again. And we've seen over the course of the run, it seems like these trucks get a
Oh,
little bit
3 wide,
squirrelier.
McClure's there. McClure's there underneath Richard Martin. Remember, last time we had this, there was an issue, there was an incident. So, are they going to give room here?
They probably will. It looks like that they're going to sort it out. By the time they get to the line, they are back to 2 wide racing. That could have been scary for a moment. Although the last time they went 3 wide was due to netcode. This track is wide enough to go 3 wide and be okay. It's just as if you lag a little bit into another driver, could spin them around. That's what we saw earlier. I think they would have made that work had there not been a little lag. But to the lead is still Balcom.
Ronald's going with Ronald's got going with Andre Marjan to the inside of Dave Melson here. It looks like you weren't here to do the race last night, but Andre Marjan was up near the front for a while last night. He didn't dominate or anything, unfortunately, but he was up near the front making his presence felt. And then
Whoa.
he backed off, came back up to the front, backed out, came back to the front. finished 4th last night, so he's looking to improve that by trying to get a win tonight. But he's got to pass Robert Balcom and hold him off to do it.
McClure and Lucier almost turned each other. McClure was trying to pass him on the tri-oval, couldn't get it done, and then they were weaving around each other through the first 2 turns. That could have been something major happening. It looks like they're still right side by side. McClure goes to the inside. He's going to bring a whole host of trucks with him. That's Martin and Wesley right behind him, coming with him to the inside of the 62. Oh, it looks like he pushes him up the racetrack a little bit. To third place goes Chuck McClure. And he's, like I said, he's going to bring a lot of trucks with him.
Anthony, just a heads up. Remember McClure, Jim Gloud? I believe it was McClure, Jim Gloud, and Terry Bombard. And I believe it was those guys that they were kind of falling back a little bit. Look where they are at now. They're in this pack. They were Jim Gloud. They were all able to catch back up to be in this pack now.
That's crazy. The fact that they were able to do that, and I'm more impressed with the 10 truck. He was the incident on lap 4. He is back in this lead pack. He's been in the lead pack since the first round of pit stops happened. Because
it doesn't look like that
yellow.
aero damage that you were speaking of is too much. He's still with this group.
Yeah, but he hasn't been able to make his way to the front. And I don't know if that's by design, if he's just content running in the back of the pack for now. But definitely something to look out for. That aero damage is going to affect his truck's top end speed. Is it going to be enough to maybe prevent him from trying for the win? Although he has not left the main pack. We're going to go back. As you said, Chris Elliott's on the tail end of this lead pack. Back here, there's 3 trucks running kind of by themselves. You have John Godfrey, Bob Dixon, and right behind you have Wiley Cody running 15th or 13th through 15th. And then back here, still in no man's land, are Mitch Bombard and Benoit Plord. And the gap between them is closing. Is now Andre Marjan coming down onto the backstretch, and looks like that Plord is going through turns 3 and 4. Now he's coming onto the front stretch. They're not even in turns 3 and 4 yet. I don't know if they're going to catch him before the second round of pit stops, or green flag pit stops, I should say.
We're nearing halfway right now in this race, too.
I believe that we are about to cross halfway in the next couple of laps. We'll be halfway through the race. We'll give you an update on where your championship drivers are running. Wesley is running in the 5th position, rather. Hasn't left the front of the field, still running. He's challenging for the 4th position underneath of the 17 of Chuck McClure. Back here, you have the 018 of Robert Balcom on the outside line. Right now, if they were to end the race right now, Wesley would be the champion. And then back here, you have the 84 of Dante Ritchie. He's still in this championship fight, so don't count him out yet, although he has to have a miracle happen if he's going to get in. He has to finish 8 positions. Well, make that 9 positions. I don't think he's led a lap yet. He has to finish 9 positions in front of Wesley. And
he has not led a lap. Only Robert and Grant have led a lap for the championship run here. And the other thing is, you got to make sure that Grant and Robert don't lead the most laps or win the race, because if they win that race, that's 3 extra bonus points, let alone the winning point, too.
I believe that the most laps led at this point would go to Andre Marjan. I mean, we keep casually looking up here, and he seems to be like cycling through the lead and the top 5. Getting close to, I think Marjan might be one of the contenders for leading the most laps tonight. And to the point goes the 62 of Ronald Lucia. I believe this is the first time he's been in the lead of this race. Either that or I've not been paying attention. But he is going to be the leader of the race. 3 wide for second place. McClure goes to the inside.
Oh, Tim Nosker slipped all the way up right there.
Whoa! Martin goes in between Wesley and Marjan, but they're going to keep it straight. And it looks like that everyone's going to cycle in. That was a close incident. Martin almost took out Marjan and Wesley. That could have opened the door wide open for Balcom. But we are still green. We're nearing our second round of green flag pit stops. They can pit anywhere between lap 40 and 42. We should see them coming down soon. If they pit again, they're going to have to come down pit road one more time, I believe. And if they do that pit stop, they will be able to make it to the end, I believe.
I believe they had to pit 2 more times, in my opinion.
2 more times? Well,
yeah, they have to pit this one coming and then one afterward, I believe.
Well, yeah, if they pit on lap 40, they'll be able to go to at least lap
58.
58. and that would put them really close to lap 76. They might
Well,
have to clutch a little bit if
I
they
do
want to
I
make
do
it to
want
the
to
end.
take the opportunity at this moment to send well wishes for not just FRN's group, but for all of RTG. I know they're pulling for Tony Fox, who recently had a incident happen. He's on the road to recovery right now. Tony, we all are hoping that you get well very soon. We know that you're home watching, and if you're, listening, get well soon, get back here. We all miss you, and we hope to see you back very soon. We know that it's a troubling time for you and your family, but we wish you all the best, and we're keeping you in our thoughts and prayers.
Indeed, we are. Hopefully, he has a speedy recovery, and we should see him back soon if he does. And well wishes to him. McClure got bumped by or the 13 of Melson coming out of turn two, and that could have been a scary incident.
The 17 has
Oh, there we
posted
go.
that he's pitting.
All right, lap 40 it is. So we should see some of these drivers coming back in 19 laps time, but there are some that stayed out. Quite a few of them stayed out actually, including our leader Luzier. And now they're
Yeah,
stacking
and
up
honestly,
again.
this group here, if this group comes in together, then I'm afraid that McClure's group may lose a little bit of time here, based on what we saw last time.
I don't know, maybe 3 trucks could do it. The last time we saw that uh, the Bombard and Elliott did not lose the pack, although we thought they were going to. And they had only about 3 or 4 trucks in their group, so maybe 3 trucks
Well,
could
McClure
do it.
has Novsker, and Novsker and McClure are really well known for plate racing and the ability on technical tracks too, especially Novsker. From what I've seen, I don't know too much about McClure's
Ooh.
technical ability, but regarding intermediate, so I'm sorry about that. But I know these two for a fact on plate tracks. They're really, really good, and those two are together. Robert Balcom and Grant Wesley have just come into pit.
These are our 2 championship contenders who are the closest to each other.
Oh, Melson almost got in the quarter of Ronald Luzier up here at the front. That could have been a recipe for disaster, especially with these people pitting right now. That could have thrown a huge wrench into everything. But they were able to manage to keep it safe and clean. And, Anthony, as we're coming through halfway, what are you thinking about this race so far?
Race has been competitive. No one seems to have a clear edge over anybody, although whoever has the inside line the last 2 laps, I do believe will have the best shot. Although someone in second could bump them up the racetrack, and all of a sudden they open the door wide open. Here come the rest of the trucks. No, we're seeing an interesting mix of strategies going on. No group really has come down at the same time. This is the biggest group we've seen so far, and it does include second place Melson. We did.
Richard Martin and Bob Dixon both stayed out, and guess what? Chris Elliott trying to stretch it a little bit longer based on his fuel run. Now, I don't know if this will be a good idea or not, but this time Chris Elliott has Martin and Dixon to come in with him if he chooses to come in with these guys.
That is true, and it looks
John
like
Godfrey's back there too.
he is. Richard Martin is bringing these two with him. I would expect them to come down pit road when they get to that point. And
And
like I
back up to
said,
the front here, that's on the track, is Balcom and McClure. So McClure was able to hold Sir with Balcom. Novsker's right here with him as well. They're coming up on the track with these other drivers here merging. It doesn't look like Balcom's going to get the lead right away. I mean, for this group, I should say, because I know that there are people who have stayed out still. But looks like they're going to get this run on this backstretch, and Balcom should be able to clear Luzier before they get to turn 3.
so with the way that they're pitting, with the way that Martin and Elliott are pitting at this moment in time, if we went green all the way to the end, they would be in the best position in order to make it all the way to the end on just one more stop. Everyone
Yeah.
else would be a little short, but maybe they're thinking about the long run. Maybe they're expecting this race to go green to the end. So Elliott and Martin are right now in the best position possible in order to make it to the end as they get blown by these 2 lap cars of Flord and Bombard. And now there goes the rest of the field. They're going to bypass them. They might have lost the draft and they may not get it back, but if this goes all the way green to the end, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them in a top running position.
Well, I do now believe Balcom will cycle around as the leader with Excuse me, apologize for that. And with McClure second and the when they get back to the line.
They are going to catch these lap down trucks this lap, in fact. Now, I don't know if they're going to get out of the way and be gracious back markers or not. It looks like they're not going to do that. Yes, they
Oh,
are.
they will. They will.
Yep, they're on the
They were
outside
just waiting. They
line.
were just waiting for him to get to him.
Here comes Plord. Now, I think that they're going to maybe join this group and start running around with them, and that's going to introduce a new variable in the fact that there are going to be lap down trucks that some of these drivers could use as a pick to get up to the front. As they go down to the inside, it looks like the top four at least are going to get by pretty easy.
I have an announcement to make that might be a really depressing moment. Dante has just come back into pit road and now he's currently leaving the pit road. So unfortunately, I'm guessing he made a mistake, got a black flag or something happened to that 84 truck, and so now he's way in the back by himself at this moment.
I would assume that maybe it was a drive-through. Maybe he was caught speeding on pit road. That's a tough break for Dante Ritchie. He was a champion. He still is a championship contender, but that's probably put a dash in his hopes.
From what I'm hearing, it's a black flag for speeding on the 84, unfortunately. So that's a big heartbreaker for him.
I'll tell you who a big loser in this pit stop cycle has been is Ronald Lucier. He was leading the race during the cycle of green flag pit stops. Now he's running all by himself in the 14th position, way back behind these drivers. So he's right now praying for a yellow to happen as well as some of these other drivers are praying for a yellow not to happen. They want this race to go green all the way so they can stretch it on fuel, including these drivers that we mentioned earlier, the 9
Chris Elliott definitely wants it to go all the way through, but Richard Martin's right there with Chris Elliott. But it seems like Bob Dixon, who was with Richard Martin in front of Chris Elliott, looks like he's lost touch with the group a little bit. He's way back here in 11th.
These two drivers are running competitive lap times with the main pack. I wouldn't be surprised if they can catch them. They're running somewhere in the 53.4 zone.
They're going to catch Mitch Bombard in maybe this lap coming up.
The main pack is running 52.7s. So the main pack is still faster, although they are going to catch some of these other trucks and form another pack. So no hope isn't lost for these drivers to catch up. They just got to form a bigger pack, and they should be able to do it.
Chris Elliott is catching the lap car of Mitch Bombard off of turn 2 here. He's going to be getting the draft right around turn 3, I'd imagine. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to get them up to. It'll be a little bit before they get up to Benoit Ford and then Jim Glaude. But Jim Glaude's hanging in there. He's barely on the tail end of this group. And Balcom's sitting here leading. If Grant wants anything to do with him, he's got to make his move to gain the most laps led. He can't let Robert take that away from him because, like we saw, every position counts. So what if Robert doesn't win the race? Maybe Robert will finish second and Grant will finish. Maybe Grant will finish second and Robert will finish third. If Robert has the most laps led, that might just, you get what I mean? That'll put him over Grant. So if I were him, I'd go out to the front and try to start leading laps as much as I can. Wouldn't you, Anthony?
I think I would, because that one extra bonus point would be really handy coming down, especially if none of these drivers win the race.
Well, you got to remember, they're tied right now. But they both have led laps, so they're back to an equal footing here. So if, like I said, if Robert finishes third and Grant finishes second and Robert's led the most laps, he's going to win the race by 1 point.
That is true.
Or the title by a point, unless they tie up.
That gets mitigated if one of these drivers finishes second and the other one wins the race, because you get 3 bonus points for winning the race. So maybe you could compete the trifecta of leading a lap, leading the most laps, and winning the race to get a maximum of 5.
Highly unlikely, but it's worth a shot. I mean, it's a Superspeedway, so it's pretty much a toss-up for anyone.
Balcom right now, if he continues up this run, he might be in the contention for the triple crown. He is running, again, a very dominant first place. And it looks like these top 5 have kind of settled into a single file run. We're well beyond halfway at this point. We're coming to lap 50 of 76. We still have north of 30 laps to go. Jessica, how do you think this race is you asked me this question earlier. How do you think this race is stacking up, and who do you have, now that we're 50 laps into this race, who do you have winning the race and the championship?
Well, I felt Dante was going to pretty much pull off the win, and I said that I thought Grant was going to pull off the championship based on him being on a tear as of late, winning these championships left and right. But Robert's also been on a tear, winning races. So I mean, that's still up for grabs. I've noticed that they're just running more single file. They're not really pushing the issue to pass like they were earlier. I mean, they'll step out of line here and there, and they'll get right back up single file real quickly. It's too loud. Almost got cut off right there by the six of Wiley. But anyway, getting back to your point, I don't know. I mean, I honestly would not mind seeing the 27 of Andre Marjan winning this race because he's been up here. McClure's been up here. I I honestly feel right now that I think Nostr might end up taking this win, but I think the championship still will probably go to Grant.
Indeed, so Nosker goes to the inside, effectively ending the lap leading streak of Balcom, and I know somebody's going to be very relieved to see that, and that's going to be the 88 at Wesley. He was
I know.
hoping. Oh, speaking of Wesley, he's going down, trying to take the second position away from Balcom. He's on a charge. He's bringing McClure with him.
Anthony, remember, Nosker and McClure, they both hit the lap earlier than these other guys. So I would imagine them hitting, they'll probably come back around and be right there with the group unless they can go out an extra lap with them and pit with them. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but if you remember, McClure and Nosker pit together a lap earlier than what Grant and Balcom did.
At this stage in the race, do you, even if you can go an extra lap, I think I'd consider coming down with the pack, as we've seen just how, I mentioned it earlier, we've seen how reliant the draft is, and that you have to be in it or else you're going to fall back a long ways, as we can't even see the 9 in this, so he's barely in the same camera shot as the rest of the field.
Marjan going for second, trying to get second here as he passes Grant Wesley with Balcom helping with the draft push him. Now, we also forgot to mention when you're leading and pulling this whole freight train behind you, you're using up a little bit more fuel too.
Indeed, you are. You have to break the wind for the rest of the drivers, and Nofsker might lose a lap of fuel as compared to maybe Majan or McClure, because he is doing the braking right now. He's not being able to half or to maybe 80% throttle through the turns. I don't know if you're able to do that anyway, because they have to get off the gas a little bit in these turns anyway. But down the backstretch, if you can suck up to another driver, then you can get off the throttle a little bit and just run behind them. And I would imagine that since you do have to slow down for these turns, maybe some of these drivers are going to clutch it through the turns later in the race. I wouldn't do it right now because we are guaranteed one more pit stop, at least one more pit stop.
Want to bring up an update that if you remember earlier, the 13 truck of Dave Nelson that was up front in the same shot, challenging for the lead multiple times. He's running back here by himself in 13th. Dante has been caught by Bob Dixon and John Godfrey, so they're pretty much together trying to draft and formulate something that they can do to see what they can salvage now. But they're still way back at the leaders.
So, lap 54 of 76, we're going to do a full field rundown to see where your favorite driver is in the race. Tim Nofsker is leading the race, followed by Chuck McClure in second place and Robert Balcom in third place. Those are your top three. Back here in the fourth and fifth position, you have Jim Glaude and Grant Wesley in the 88, as Glaude goes the inside of Balcom to take the third position away in turn 3. It looks like he's going to get the pass done coming out of turn 4. He's going to bring the 88 of Wesley with him. Andre Marjan has fallen back to the 6th position, and Wiley Cody is a lap down, running in the 15th position, staying with this lead group. Now back here you have the last drivers who pitted on the last green flag cycle. You have Chris Elliott and Richard Martin. Those two did come down last. They are probably going to be in the best position if this race goes green the rest of the way. Somehow I have a feeling that might not happen, though, so we'll have to see. But it'd be interesting to see if we see the 9 or the 43 up at the front of the field. And in 16th, Benoit Plord is running a lap down. He is staying with this group, though, so at least he's not alone. And if a caution happens, I believe he would be a lucky dog contender. I don't know if there's 1 or 2 lucky dogs that happen in this series.
Well, right now the only two that there's 3 that's a lap down: Wiley, Benoit, and Mitch Bombard at the moment. And it looks like they're going to be catching a few other drivers soon. Like 45 seconds back is Ronald Louisier, and 43 seconds behind the leader is Dave Nelson. Dante, Bob Dixon, and John Godfrey are all about 30 seconds, 31 seconds back of the leader, so they're going to be caught fairly soon if we don't have a caution or pit stop cycle happens.
So
So they got to hope that, in my opinion, if I were them, I would be hoping that the pit stop cycle starts. We stay out an extra lap because we had to come in or something. Caution comes out, and we should be good at that point.
indeed, so we're coming down to another cycle of pit stops in the next few laps. So some of these drivers pitted on lap 40. They're going to have to come down around lap 58. So in 2 laps time, or a lap and a half time, really, we should see them come down. And that would be Tim Nosker, I believe, would be one of those first takers on pit road. He was one of the first to come down, along with
Chuck McClure.
Chuck McClure. So we should see them coming down. And I still say that if you're in this lead group of trucks, I would come down with those guys. I don't think I would stretch it. Although this bigger group could go.
The thing is, they might play hide and seek with the messages. If Tim Nosker says he's going to come down to pit this time by, for example, and he wants to come in, and the other people are saying, okay, we'll come and pit with you. If they have room at the last second, they might pull up in the high side off of 4. And they may not pit, and Nosker will be by himself. So Nosker's got to make sure that they come with him so he doesn't lose draft. But him leading, like we said earlier, he's just using up more fuel, especially from what we've seen so far this race. But he's doing a good job holding out in front, leading laps, letting them tick away. I think he might be in contention to lead the most laps now. What I'm looking at right more specifically, Anthony, is that Carlos and I were talking about it last night. They were very respectful, very careful. They battled, but they, really, respectfully with, it was a really great race last night, okay? And now it's the championship race. It's also a chance to not just win prizes, but to have a little bragging rights for a 4 series race. Carlos suggested that they are going to start getting really aggressive into this race, especially toward the end. What are you thinking? Do you think they'll end up getting really aggressive like Carlos predicted?
We've seen them be aggressive already in the race. There's making some 3 wide moves, and we've seen that they've forced the issue sometimes when they may not have needed to. And here they come, and yeah, the group is coming down pit road on lap 58. Looks like Nosker's going to screech the tires, and Balcom spins coming down to pit road. He's going to go down the wrong way. He's going to get turned around, but that's huge for Robert Balcom as he has now gotten righted, but now he's going to be behind. I think he'd be changing up his strategy if I were him. He's got to get out with this group or else he's going to fall way behind the rest of the field. But they do pit coming down on lap 58. It was really close. Oh, and he missed his pit box. He had to back into it. The problems continue for the 018.
Anthony, what I was just told informed was that Balcom, when he came into pit road, he accidentally misshifted into reverse, which caused him to spin out. So that's going to really affect him now.
He's only taken a 2-tire stop. I don't know if they filled the truck full with fuel or not. This is a disaster for the 018. He's on a very alternate strategy at this point. Tough break for him. He's one of the championship contenders.
With him having that mishap, the reason why I think he took 2 tires was to quickly get the little bit of tire wear that he had lost based on that spin. At the same time, pack it really quick of fuel that he thinks that he can make it to the end and get back out there as quickly as he can. Andre Marjan just went a little bit over his stall as he came into pit from the 3rd position. And it looks like he might lose maybe a half a second of time based on that. He's taking 4 tires and fuel.
Oh, McClure, I think, is out of fuel. McClure's weaving on pit road. I think that truck is out of fuel. Yeah, he's way behind the pit speed. I think he tried to stretch it all too far. He did make it to his pit box though, but he was weaving down pit road as if he was out. Some of these drivers are stretching it a bit too far. Here comes Lucier down pit road, and now
Dante's on.
And now someone who's in the best position possible is Chris Elliott and Richard Martin. They're staying out. They are now 1st and 2nd place, coming down to lap 61. But I do think that mathematically,
also we gotta think about this, Anthony. When they come in, if they want to, they can take less fuel and get back out there, and they might be able to blend in with the pack and not lose too much time.
They could. I think that everyone can make it on fuel. If they all came down on lap 58, then by the
Yeah,
math,
right now they should be able to make it easily on 76. I
so
would believe.
the strategy for Elliott and Martin may not have played out as well as they had hoped, but still a great showing from them. They are running first and second place. It looks like Martin's backing off a bit. He's not out of fuel. He's still keeping speed. There's Chris Elliott. I think they're going to pit now. They are. Here comes Elliott and Martin, and they're bringing the 87 of Plord with them.
Dave Melson is currently on the backstretch in 14. He's about to go in turn 3. Novsker's closing in on Dave Melson. Novsker's going into 3 now. He's maybe a couple of seconds back of the 13 truck. Now, if all is said and done with this cycle, I would imagine that Novsker will probably cycle around as the leader.
Indeed, so they're running by themselves. Wesley and Nofsker are 1 and 2, and
He's going to let
Lucy
Grant take the lead here.
indeed he is. Looks like that Martin and Elliott are coming back onto pit road, but Nofsker and Wesley are going to bypass them. Wesley into the lead of the race. That is one of your championship leaders, and I don't know if
I just heard a clutch at one point, so there is the ability that these guys are trying to save a little bit. I just was cycling through the top 5 group. I'm not going to say who, but I did hear the clutch coming right there going into the corner. I'm hearing it a little bit. They're playing with the clutch, so I don't think they're good all the way, Anthony. I think they might have to save a bit now.
it is not. It is Wesley. He's taken a slightly higher line into turns 3 and 4 that he usually would, and he is slowing down considerably through those turns. They're usually running in the mid to low 170s. He was down into the low 160s, and you can tell when he gets off the throttle. I don't think the 88 or
Noster is the guy who I was watching. He's clutching. He's rolling it in there.
so is Wesley. They're both clutching it. That's why they're kind of separated from each other. So now this turns from a super speedway race into just a mile-and-a-half speedway race. They're going to have to figure out a way to get to the end.
This race has turned into this race has turned into a super speedway race, gone to a Michigan style race. I would imagine now, Anthony.
It's going to be interesting to see if they can make it on the way. Yeah, and Oscar and Wesley are clutching into the turns. I don't know. I think these drivers would have to be doing it too. Oh, they're not. Gloud is not clutching.
Yeah, I was going to say, Gloud is back there, and he's got Andre Marjan right behind him. Ron Luzier, he's a lap down, but he's hanging steady with these guys too. And it's a long way back to 5th place, Richard Martin, who's just now entering the trial.
The thing is, though, is that Wesley and Oscar have such a big lead that they can get away with clutching through the turns. But as soon as you have some of these other drivers start catching them, I have a feeling that the speeds are going to pick up. That being said, I don't know how close they are, but some of these drivers that pitted with them are in the same boat that they are. So for people like Gloud and Manjan, that you'd think that they're in the same boat.
It was 4.5 seconds to 3rd place Jim Gloud. Let's see what it's going to be this time.
Let's go back and see if we can find Robert Balcom. He had that incident getting on to
He should be back in 6th, 10 seconds back, almost 11 seconds. He's with Richard Martin.
He is now. We've got to figure out if he got that truck full of fuel or not. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to the end. However, he does have a buddy with him that they could start turning some laps and make it up to the front. All is not lost for the 018.
Jim Gloud went from 4.48 to 4.35, so gaining a little bit, but not a lot. I can barely see the trucks in front of him as he's coming off of turn 2 now.
Now that we're getting into the later run of the race, they do have, Wesley does have a truck that he can pull draft from. Is not too eager to pass, and that is Dave Melson. They don't seem to be wanting to pass him, using the draft to get off the throttle a little bit in order to stretch that fuel a little bit further. I don't know how short they're going to be, but they're still not speeding up hardly any at all, and we're getting down
Jim Gloud, I'm riding with Jim Gloud right now. I have not heard him lift to do clutching or anything. He's going all at it like it's every single race, every single lap.
11 laps to go. Next time by will be 10 to go. And right now it's all Wesley up at the front with Nofsker right behind him. right now, if we finish the race, Grant Wesley is your champion for this mini series. Back here, Jim Glaude running third, Andre Marjan in the fourth position. 14th is Robert Luzier. He is I believe he's multiple, and he's still one lap down at this point. Richard Martin and Robert Balcom running in the fifth and sixth position. They are kind of in no man's land by themselves. And then it's a long way back to seventh, Chris Elliott. 15th, Wiley Cody, who is still a lap down, and 16th, Benoit Plourde. Those two are in a battle by themselves. 8th is going to be Chuck McClure, Dante Ritchie in ninth, Terry Bombard in the 10th position. This field has gotten spread out. The pit road has really shook up the field. 11th, it's going to be Dixon, followed by Godfrey in the 12th position.
I do want to point out something, Anthony. Jim Glaude, I'm looking at his lap times. He was not clutching at all while the leaders were clutching, and now it looks like they're caught another lap car. It looks like there's 4 of them up there. I'm not sure whether there's 3 or 4, but on Jim Glaude's end, full throttle with I mean, except for obviously the corner's letting up just a little bit to make the corner, but for some reason they're losing time. They went from 4.35 down to 3.5 back to 4.9. Now they're up to 7.3. So they are losing time now compared to gaining it.
I'm not sure how much that Wesley and Oscar are clutching anymore. They seem to be running at full race pace or a little bit slower than that. They haven't passed Melson yet.
Yeah, Mitch Bombard's with him now.
Bombard's falling back, though. He's not really keeping with this pack.
And I'm riding with Oscar. He's backing off the throttle going about 168, 169 miles an hour in the corner. So he's not clutching anymore.
With all that fuel that they've saved, you think they may be able to make it to the end of the race? They probably will at this point. We are within 10 laps to go. It's going to be a little close.
Well, if it says splash and they got where it says none, and they have none for at least a lap, they're good. Even if it goes back to splash, they should be good to cross that line without a problem.
What will it be? These drivers all pitted at the same lap. Wesley and Nofsker, they all came down. Pretty much the whole lead pack came down. Right now, it's just these two at the front. And I would imagine that the way they're running right now, we would go green all the way to the end. So it's going to be a matter of who can stretch it the farthest in these last 6 or 7 laps. Right now, it's all Wesley at the front still. Do you think that maybe Nofsker is going to challenge for the lead, or if he's going to let Wesley win the race and the championship?
No, not. I mean, Grant's here to win. He's in the battle for the championship. And there's a clutch from Grant. Grant is still clutching in the corner. I just heard him do that in the corner behind Nelson. But regarding Nofsker, though, I mean, Nofsker can go for the win. It doesn't matter. Balcom and what he can see is Balcom's in 6th, Grant's in 2nd. Right? I mean, currently the lead right now, right? So whatever Nofsker does, it's not going to affect whatever the position finishing order will be for the championship in his mindset. So he can go for the win. I'd imagine Nofsker will go for the win here.
Yeah, 2-truck battle. That's something that Wesley doesn't want. And Nofsker not really either, because if they're close on field, they don't want to be battling side by side like they are. But here comes
it seems like Nofsker can make it. It seems like Nofsker can make it. Nofsker wasn't clutching. Grant was still clutching a little bit because he was pulling Nofsker for those couple laps, if you remember.
Yeah, but Wesley is also behind Melson now, so they're both within a draft. You'd think that maybe they could run similar styles of clutching, or not clutching, but fuel saving through the turns, and especially in the front stretch, because Wesley hasn't passed Melson yet, and usually we'd see them do so. We're definitely playing the long game here as far as strategy goes. We're coming down to lap 71.
They're making a move now. 3 wide. 3 wide for it. Nofsker's underneath Wesley.
Wesley pushing up the track, almost got into Melson a little bit.
I think Nofsker's going to let him come down. I think Nofsker will let Wesley come back down in line and just ride.
I wouldn't be too sure as he gets into him into the wall. And he moved him up to the racetrack, and now Nofsker's going to take the lead. Wesley got a piece of the wall. I don't know if there's much damage on that 88, but he falls back in line. Nofsker to the point.
Balcom is with Richard Martin coming off the turn 2, still way back. So just that little tad, it didn't really affect anything too much. It seems like Wesley's able to stay with the group, so it didn't hurt him that bad.
That was a scary moment. That could have been the race over for Grant Wesley. Looks like he got a tank slapper onto the right side, but he's still going. He has not left this pack. He's still running second place. You gotta expect he's probably a little bit fired up. He's gonna try and get to the front of the race. There he goes. He goes underneath of Bombard. He's gonna try and get back up to Novsker to take this win, but they're running out of time, and we don't know how damaged that 88 truck is, or even if he can make it on fuel. We don't know if
Oh,
these drivers are
I
saved
think
enough.
I think Grant can make it, and I don't believe he's really aggravated and mad with Tim Knopfsker. That was just hard racing, and I'm sure he's aware that was just hard racing. I'm sure they were laughing and having a giggle after that happened. Now, I mean, if you think about it, I think Grant can still get up to Oscar and try to battle for the win. And honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less out of those two to battle side by side, really tight, close. They're not dirty racers. They won't take each other out intentionally. And that's what this league is about: being respectful, racing hard, and able to come away and laugh about it afterward, knowing that they just raced and had fun. That's all they want to do is just have fun and race. But there is a prize on the line, yeah. But Grant still has second. He's still way out ahead of the 018 of Robert Balcom, who's almost 16 seconds back, running fifth and sixth without Richard Martin. So I'm sure Grant's just relaxed and laughing and having a good joke about that one.
Oscar and Grant Wesley are now back nose to tail with each other. About a truck, 2 or 3 truck lengths separates them. Coming down to lap 74 of 76, there'll be 3 to go. Jess, who do you got winning this race?
I said it. I said Dante to begin with, and I said Grant would win the championship. I
Well,
thought
yeah, but
Grant would win the
of these
championship.
two,
Dante would win the race, and then I did tell you when you asked me the second time, what was I thinking? I said I was hoping and pulling for the underdog Andre Marjan, but I felt that Tim Knopfsker would win the race and Grant would win the championship, and they're up front leading 1 and 2.
I was more or less referring to as it stands right now. After the cycle of pit stops stopped, and it looks like Wesley's going to get a run on the outside. Isn't going to take it anywhere. That outside line
No.
still hasn't come in. Now they're going to fall back in line. There is some damage on the 88. He doesn't seem to be quite as fast as he used to be. He is still keeping up though.
Just want to touch on a couple of people here that we haven't talked about in a little bit. You have Andre Marjan back here. Andre Marjan's back here running in 4, trying to catch up to the 72 of Jim Glock for 3rd. They've caught the lap machine right now of, I believe that is, Ron Louisier in the 14th position lap down. But back up front where all the action is, you've got Tim Knopfsker. He's opened the door. Melison's going to go with Grant Wesley on this high side for a battle for the lead. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get him because Melison's backed off. He's going to be in the middle line between them here. Holding steady and where there might be a little bit of an opening. I don't know what Melison might do. Melison wants to sit there and probably just play around with these two. He's not going to really be much of a hindrance, I don't think. I think he's just goofing off with these guys until the last lap, then he'll let them duke it out. But right now, Tim Knopfsker's still leading. He might have led the most laps so far. What do you think, Anthony?
I think so. To the lead for a split second went Wesley. We're on the final lap of the race. Knopfsker's still on the inside line. Down the backstretch for the final time. Knopfsker with a block to the outside. He put Melson in the wall, trying to avoid it, but now they're dead even down the backstretch. The 88's got a little bit in there.
They touch.
They touch down the backstretch. The 13 of Melson isn't going to go with anybody. Knopfsker's going to pull out a little bit, and he's going to clear the 88.
Grant's going to try to get this front on this inside. He's hoping that Melson will get a run here and go with him. I don't know.
He's got to run. Melson with him. I don't think it's going to be enough. He's not alongside.
Oh, there he goes.
Down to the line. It's going to be the 088. Knopfsker wins the race. And your champion is going to be Grant Wesley. Fantastic run down to the end of the race.
Balcom will get by Richard Martin for position, but and that will give him 5th position at the end of this race. And just an unfortunate issue for Robert Balcom earlier on. But congratulations to Tim Knofsker and Grant Wesley for a great show at the end of that.
Indeed, it was a battle between the two 88s, the 088 and the 88. Knofsker with the win and Wesley with the championship. What a run that these two drivers had. They was all by themselves with a little bit of help from Melson and Bombard. And there's your winner, Tim Knofsker, coming through 3 and 4 for the final time under pacing. And up at the front, Grant Wesley,
As I
the
said last
champion.
night, Knofsker was up near the front and he fell back, and then he got up near the front again during pit cycle and fell back, and then he got right back up there, and he was like Andre Marjan last night. He kept getting up there and then getting out there a little bit too much, and the tires wore and he fell back. And Andre had a shot last night to win along with Tim Knofsker. Andre finishes 4th again tonight, but Knofsker got redemption from last night, and he pulls it off really close over Grant Wesley. But that was a great battle, Anthony. That was a great battle all the way to the end, from start to finish.
That was indeed. I don't know how close they were on fuel, but I think Knofsker might be out of fuel. He's trying to do a burnout. No, he's got a little fuel left in the truck. But we saw a fuel run down to the end. They were clutching through all the turns, trying to make it to the end, and in the end, Knofsker pulls out a win here tonight at RTR Superspeedway. Yes, what a race that we just witnessed.
I I have no words because I've been part of plate races for a while, and honestly, those two banging on each other on the backstretch, I don't know if I would have hit them. I probably would have hit it. If I would have hit someone, it would have been really hard. They got great control. They've got great respect, great space, for each other during that little fun bit back there. And that's what, like we said earlier, that's what this league is about. This is what this team league is about: having fun, manners, respect, give each other room and space, have a laugh if you hit each other. Able to actually be in an environment such as this is just great, and it's awesome seeing them. I mean, I can't duplicate that obviously, but these guys, at least I get to run around them, and I'm thankful for running around them because this is the environment you want to race in.
Indeed, it is a very respectful race from everybody tonight. Fantastic showing from really every driver here tonight. This race was super fun to watch. I was kind of wondering how it was going to be with such a large flat track being restrictor plate. Tonight was fun to watch. It was interesting to see the different strategies that these drivers pulled out, and that it came down to fuel. And I am impressed by this racetrack and by these drivers.
Well, to give the official standing the full results here, Tim Knofsker with the win, Grant Wesley runner-up, and will be the champion of the mini series of the Team Crown Paintshop series that they've got going on this week. Jim Gloud, good job for him coming home in 3rd. He was pretty decent last night and had a really bad mishap and misfortune that happened to him. So he rebounds really nicely tonight with a 3rd place finish. Andre Marjan, 4th again. The tough luck of Robert Balcom, though, 5th place. I'm sure that he's going to be kicking himself for that one coming in pit road on the way that happened. But, it's just a fun event, so I'm sure that he'll be okay afterward. Chris Elliott with the 6th place, and Richard Martin 7th, Chuck McClure 8th. Their pit strategy didn't work out like they had hoped. I'm sure that they were hoping for the top guys to run out right close to the end so they could have gained all that time back, but unfortunately it didn't go that way. Dante with his black flag that he got on pit road, unfortunate heartbreak for that 84 truck. Terry Bombard finishing 10th with his truck number 10. Bob Dixon 11th. John Godfrey finishes in 12th. Lap down cars of Dave Melson, Ronald Luzier, Benoit Port, and Wiley Coate. And then 2 laps down, Mitch Bombard finishing in 17th. And once again, I want to say thank you to the Bombards for putting this on and allowing us to broadcast and enjoy watching this race and enjoying like the little battle that we saw there between Grant and Tim Knofsker. I mean, that's what this series is about. It's unexpected and having fun. And they didn't disappoint, that's for sure.
I did not. It was a fantastic race, start to finish, and it came down to the two best drivers on the racetrack tonight. Well, Jess, this
I do wanna point out, what would you like to do, Anthony? Would you like to get third place up here first, and then we talk to Tim Knopfsker and then our champion, Grant Wesley?
yeah, let's get third place up here and see if we can get an interview with him.
Okay, here is Jim Loud in the 72.
Hey, Jim, it's Anthony in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, that was a fantastic race tonight. It really came down to fuel strategy, and we were on the edge of our seats seeing who could and who couldn't make it. Were you close on fuel any at all, or do you think you could have gone to the end if you were up in the main pack?
Well, it was telling me that I was short a third of a lap, so um, I let Ronald finally get in front of me, and I saved a little bit of fuel, just enough to get across the line.
Yeah, it was getting close. We saw that throughout the race that every time that people come down pit road, the field would spread further and further away. Do you think that that was something that was expected, or was that kind of a shock to these drivers tonight?
Well, actually, we all kind of had our little problems on pit road. Myself, I slid through my pit, so I lost touch with the top two there. Robert threw it in reverse, so he ended up spinning on pit road, and that kind of washed his night out. But everybody seemed to be beating themselves. Dante got a speeding penalty, so yeah, it was it was interesting, that's for sure.
Was pit road particularly hard to? I mean, you said that everyone had their problems, and we were watching Robert when he came down pit road, and we didn't know. We thought he had gotten hit from behind, and then we heard over radios that he had actually reversed it. Was tonight's pit road like especially hard? Like normally we see that you guys get on pit road pretty easily, but what was different about tonight's pit road?
I think the speed, 70 miles an hour. You're coming in already pretty hot, and then there's that little kink there, and pit road's really slippery. So the extra speed when you're coming in, when you get to your pit stall, if you're not on the brakes at the right time, you're going to slide through, and if you're on too early, you're going to stop too short. So it's kind of hit and miss. I practiced it a bit before the race, and it was really, if you got somebody around you, you really had to pay attention to what was going on, so you didn't speed.
Indeed. So, well, third place for you tonight. We saw you running at the top of the field for a while, and then the field got spread out. But a great showing from you tonight. Congratulations on third place. Do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to say hi to Tony and hope he's feeling better. I'd like to thank the Bombards for putting this on, and for you guys for broadcasting it. Everybody at RTG for putting this on. It's a great group to go 2 nights in a row almost with no cautions. Fabulous racing. I'm sweating here. I tell you, it wasn't easy. But I'd like to say hi to my family, my brother Junior out there. I know he's watching. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming out.
Well, once again, congratulations on your third place. We look forward to seeing you in another series, and we hope to see you do well again. Thank you for coming.
Thanks again.
That was Jim Gloud, driver of the 72. I believe that was his number.
Yep, and let's get that race winner, Tim Knopfsker, in here.
Let's get him in here.
Hey, Tim, guess what? I picked you to win this race.
Did you really? Well, you better buy a lottery ticket then.
Actually, at the very beginning, I picked Dante, and then when Dante had his black flag mishap, I was asked 2 more times who I wanted to pick to win the race, and who's going to the championship. I picked you to win the race, so I guess I might be somewhat good luck for you.
I'm feeling pretty slighted that wasn't your first pick.
Well, Tim, congratulations on your victory. It was kind of a nail biter at the end. We heard you guys getting close on fuel and some clutching going on. How do you, how close were you on fuel? Because we asked Jim and he said that, or we asked the last guy. He said that he was super close. How close were the two leaders?
Yeah, so we exit pit road, and I immediately checked my gas because I knew it doesn't give you the same amount of gas as a standard Talladega, even though it's kind of a flat version. And I was a half lap short. So when I realized that, I pulled over in the tri-oval to let Grant go. He had no idea. And then I heard him say, "Oh, no." And he realized it then. So we kind of caught up to the 13. I was drafting behind him, and he drafted behind the 13. So I had saved enough after when we got to about 9 to go. I was right on the number pretty much. And then I was able to race it up from there. But I ran out of gas pretty much on the last lap. I was trying to save enough to do a burnout, but my buddy Chuck McClure helped me with a provisional burnout there, so that was pretty cool.
All I want to say is, Tim, do you feel like you got redemption based on last night when you got up to the front and kept falling back because you used your tires up so much and got kicked up to the high side? Do you feel redemption now?
I do. Last night, I had short pitted on one run to see how far I could get out in front of those guys in case it came down to it at the end.
Well, you did a good job getting out front. It just you just couldn't keep it out there.
I assumed there was going to be another caution, and we ran another 130 laps almost without a caution. So my test went wrong last night. But yeah, tonight was a whole different story. I love this track. It just creates some of the best racing you'll ever see, and it's very cool. And yeah, so I kind of felt a little bit bad there. Grant was tight on me, and I just got into him a little bit there, and he scuffed up on the wall there. I felt bad about that because I raced clean. I don't like.
And then you guys had that little bump on that back stretch after you guys got back to each other. What was that about?
Well, I had to drive pretty defensively because I saw that Dave Nelson was helping Grant, and so I had to do whatever I could to try to maintain the lead, because if he goes by, then probably the 13 goes by too, and then I'm really in a bad spot. So yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of friends there. I had to be super defensive.
Indeed. So we saw that the draft was pretty prevalent tonight too. It seemed like drivers would slip out of it and never really get back up. Two-car tandeming at the front, was that more stressful or less stressful than winning a main pack?
It's actually more stressful because you know, it's kind of a version of Talladega that's flat, and on Talladega you kind of have the banking to kind of judge your entry, and given that this has a flat entry, there's no real focus point or, you know, track, you know, where you start, the car will start to tilt, you kind of know. So when I, you know, obviously I run in cars, so when I'm packed up on someone, actually in the middle of the race, I actually missed the corner entry altogether, and lucky it didn't cause a big wreck.
That was a great drive from from all of you guys tonight. It was really fun to watch. This track is really fun to watch. I didn't know kind of what to expect because I'd never seen you guys race here, and I was impressed. This is a really cool track, and I gotta give a quick shout out to whoever thought that the slanted pit boxes were cool or a good idea. Those are actually really cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of work. Terry Bauman did this track a long time ago, and we've been racing on it for probably 15 years, and it's just promotes some of the craziest racing, and you know, the draft is so prevalent, you know, on the straightaways, and it just promotes a lot of 2 and 3 wide passing, and it's one of the coolest tracks. It's actually my favorite track. I love this thing.
Tim, just a real quick question off topic for one slight second so I don't screw something up later on. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Open is Monday and the All-Star race itself will be Thursday of next week, correct?
You're correct.
And you're in the Open, so I mean you're not in the Open, you're in the actual event itself on Thursday night.
No.
So you what?
I'm
What's
in
that?
the Open.
You're in the Open, really?
I am.
I thought you won a plate race over in the Dega Challenge, didn't you?
I did, but this is the Speedway Challenge, so it's all tracks 2 miles and under.
Oh, okay. Well, So with you being in the open now, well, I mean, do you have any ideas how that's going to play out? I mean, I'm sure you're looking forward to that at least, right?
I'm going
Early
to
to
charge
8
hard and give you guys a great show.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your win tonight, Tim. You have any shout outs you want to make before we send you out?
I absolutely do. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Terry Bombard, Mitch Bombard, TK Painting, the original Team Kraut OGs. They are responsible for this series. So, and on a side note, they're just two of the best guys you'll ever meet. So I'd like to thank them. I'd also like to thank Terry Ballman, Dave Cannon, Sean Prime, who keep kind of the glue that keeps us all together. This league's been around longer than I believe any other league in this sim. So it's something to speak to that those guys have kept it together for so long. And I'm not sure if she's watching tonight, but I do have to give a shout out to my daughter and her husband and Lil Jackson and Chloe. They like to watch Papa do this crazy thing that he does, and I love the support, and I love that they do that. So also I'm going to give a shout out to Chuck one more time for helping me do a burnout without any gas. That was pretty cool. But and I want to give you guys a shout out too. The broadcast thing really adds a cool dynamic to what we do here, and kind of helps us promote what we do for those who can't really afford iRacing but still love the competition.
Well, it is a very cool thing to watch. Once again, congratulations on your win, and we'll see you next time when we go racing into the open.
All right, thank you.
All right, you want to get the champion in here now?
Yeah, let's get the champion here.
Grant, I'm so sorry. I picked you for the championship, and from the start to the end, and I picked you. I was hoping to jinx you, so Robert wouldn't be mad at me. So, but oh well.
Well, I'm glad that I came through with it in the end.
That was a great run at the towards the end of the race. You seemed like that you were able to have your pit road woes be at a minimum. We asked the other two how difficult pit road was tonight. It seemed like everyone was having problems, including Robert accidentally shifted into reverse. How did you fare tonight?
This track, I don't even remember running this dang thing. But, it seems so familiar because it's Talladega, but it's flat. And then the monkey wrench is the fact that pit road's 70 mile an hour. So you're so used to running Thursdays and hitting, that 55. And then, now you can hot pit and you can go faster. And yeah, I was hitting way too slow all race long. And that last pit stop, Tim, he's the best hot pitter over here. So I was like, no one better to follow than him. And so I just waited until he braked, and I braked. I just locked him up and slid down just under 70. It was perfect. And pit road was definitely difficult.
We were joking toward the end of that run about what we saw between you and Oscar when Tim lightly got into your quarter panel and you got in the wall, and then you guys kind of had a little fun side bang a little on the backstretch a couple laps later. But it was mentioned by Anthony that when you hit that wall, did it create any issues for you, like aerodynamically? Because according to Anthony, I thought you said that it seemed like he just couldn't get up there without any help. I mean, how bad was it with you, Grant?
Oh yeah, it completely knocked the aero out of the car. But nah, that's that was just hard racing. Me and Tim. I mean, he's
Yeah,
aggressive.
I figured you guys started laughing about that afterwards.
Yeah, it is hard racing, and I was squeezing him, and he was pushing the issue just as much, and we just got together, and I got sideways coming off the corner, and I just chose the wall over spinning, and I walled it, and luckily I was able to keep the draft, and then Dave Melson, he was gracious enough to kind of help me out there, and it kind of, I had a handicap there for the last couple laps, but he was helping me out and made it close anyway.
Indeed, it did. The series overall seems to have been gone, or has seemed to gone off pretty well. Your overall opinion of the series has to be pretty high since you just won the championship. But how have you enjoyed racing with all these guys throughout this week?
Oh, anytime Terry and Mitch put on event or a series, it's always a blast. Like I mentioned last night, I run that Amish Survivor Series with them each winter. In fact, I think that's coming up just around the corner, maybe. Um, and that's kind of enduro style demolition derby stuff, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, these little short mini series, it's something a little bit different. Um, it's not as drug out as some of the longer series are, and it's high pace and quick, and you get it all done in 1 week. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations on your championship. We were watching the race pretty intensely in the last 5 or so laps because we weren't quite sure if you guys were able to make it on fuel, and then Tim was saying that he was about a half a lap short, and you were both clutching through the turn, and we were biting our nails wondering if you were actually going to make it to the end, and looks like you made it to the end pretty okay.
Yeah, I was thinking normal Talladega fuel mileage, where you can go 19 to 20 laps on a tank, and I'm pretty sure tonight, which I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like 18 is like the max because I thought I was good. And yeah, so I was following Tim when we exited pit road there the last time, and then Tim just goes up the track and lets me pass him. I'm like, thanks, I told him thanks over TeamSpeak, and then I hit the F3 and I see that I'm like 14 and 14 on my fuel. I'm like, oh crap. So yeah, then I just started clutching, and then with 7 to go, he started trying to pass me, and the gloves came off, and then it was on from there to the finish.
Indeed. So, congratulations on your championship in this little mini series that you guys have done. Do you have any shout outs you want to make before we send you off?
Yeah, thanks to TK Paint Shop for sponsoring this mini series, and Terry and Mitch Bombard. They're putting up some prizes to the top guys and points, and yeah, here at tkpaintshop.com, they got them posted there. Some pretty cool prizes, and so yeah, thanks to them. Thanks to the owners here at RTG, Terry, Sean, and Dave. This is one of the best places to race at. Um, yeah, and just everyone that I race with on a weekly basis, sometimes nightly basis, and for being fun to race with. And thanks to you guys for the broadcast.
Thank you, and hope to see you next time. Are you racing the Open and the All Star race coming up?
Yeah, I'm locked into the All Star race, so yeah, I'm looking forward to running it.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you race there. And once again, congratulations on your championship tonight. And we look forward to seeing you race again.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Anthony, if it's okay, can I bring in the people who put on the series? Because this is one of those rare moments where they actually put on a little off season. So, do we have enough time to thank the people who put this on?
I think we have a little time.
Terry and Mitch, you got me?
Yes, sir.
Just want to say thank you, and we really appreciate you letting us broadcast. And we're still on the air right now, so I just wanted to say thank you for letting us broadcast the last two races of this, the back half of the event and the championship race. It was a really great blast to do it, and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you guys for coming on and doing it on that short notice we gave you, and thanks for all your help. And did a great job. We appreciate it, and we got anything more coming up, we'll be sure to get with you.
We really like the track. I mean, Anthony loves the slams on the pit stalls, but yeah, we really had a blast doing it. I had a blast last night seeing everyone battle, and the little fun issue you had out before going in the pit road, and tonight looked like it was a great race as well.
Yeah, this track always puts on really good races, and people see it and they just think it's probably going to be like single file or something. But I mean, you get side by side, and it's always something happening all the time. And to me, this is one of the best tracks I've ever seen and ran on, and I like it. But I got a little warp issue there earlier, and I spun myself out, and of course, I had to be the only caution.
Well, with you guys doing this event. Is there anything we can expect to see coming up anytime soon from you guys for another special event?
I think this is probably going to be it for us from the year. We got real racing. I drive a car at the Waterford Speed Bowl, so we'll be usually occupied with that. But we come back with our weekly series in January, so that's probably the next time we'll pop up here. Besides Tuesday nights, the Winston Cup Series.
Yeah, and on that note, real quick, if I might, if you guys wanna, if you guys are willing to broadcast one of them, you might. We have a broadcaster before that did a couple of races for us, but it's just like win at all costs, and it's crazy mayhem. But you guys can come out and check one out one of these nights, and when we do it next year, and see if you think it would be something you'd be worth doing. Let us know.
Well, I know Grant said that he was looking for the Survivor Series to come back as well, so he was looking forward to that. And all you gotta do is just get in touch with Seth Cole or Matt Rodriguez, one of our owners of the FRN, and I'm sure that if you talk to them, they can see what they can schedule or not. But Terry and Mitch, once again, thank you very much for letting us be part of this. I mean, 50 seasons plus here, and quite a few years together in this team speak, and allowing me to be part of it, and allowing FRN to start coming to become part of the family as well. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Like I said, you do a great job, and we'll keep on trying to get you some work.
Alrighty. Anything? You got anything?
I believe that wraps up everything. I'll just echo Jess in saying thank you both for letting us broadcast these races, and I think it's time to say goodbye to everybody who's watching the stream.
Don't forget, we do have the All-Star Open on Monday and the All-Star Race over here at RTG on Thursday. That will be broadcast, I believe, on FRN. I believe we're doing the Open and the All-Star Race together. I'm not sure, but I believe we are. And there's other events happening this weekend that are taking place on FRN, as Carlos brought it up to the point of last night, and I'm sure that if you guys want to check out anything cool, you can just go to the YouTube channel of Flatout Racing Network, and we'll have everything there, and just enjoy scanning what we've done and upcoming events and everything else. We have a website that you can visit too, and everything that you need. Just hit us up and enjoy watching quality racing like we saw tonight.
Thank you for watching the RTG on the Flatout Racing Network. My name is Anthony McCurry. That was Jessica Shelton. We'll see you next time here on FRN. Thank you for watching.